actually, that means karma means that we are now in this life, we are creating our body for next life. So what we do will influence the body you get in next life. Yeah, and we create our own life now for the future. That's the meaning of this karma. And as I said, we are now building our new body. You see, so many things in the world happen which we don't like, wars and all these things. But you know, actually, if something happens to you or to others and say, oh my God, how could it happen? Oh, how is it possible? Just remember that what a person is getting is less than he deserves. It is really less. It is not. The Lord is so merciful that when you turn to Him, even if you were a drunkard or you were a murderer, it doesn't matter what you were. Your past is not important. But on one moment you turn to the Lord, you will see how He minimizes your karma. He takes it away. If you did wrong things, maybe you will get some punishment, but very less. He is taking it away. I will read something from the Bhagavad Gita, and it is chapter 2, and it is verse. Oh, is this the good verse? Let's see, 2:11. I have to find it again. I put a paper, but something happened with the paper. 1 second, please. 2:11. Hey, how sad. It was such a nice verse. Okay, it's gone. I can't find it so fast. And time is running. That happens with papers, you know. If you put papers inside, then something. Okay. (2:11). Okay, no. Okay, leave it. I can't find it, but there is a verse. Oh, I got it. Yes, it is 12, chapter 12. That's when you read too much, you know, everything with two is not okay. Here, I found it. It is Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, and it is verse 13, 14. And I read just a small part of the purport. A pure devotee. A devotee is someone who dedicated this to the Lord. A pure devotee is never disturbed in any circumstances, nor is he envious of anyone, nor does a devotee become his enemy's enemy. He thinks, this person is acting as my enemy due to my own past misdeeds. You see how karma works? You see the good in something. You think, okay, that happens to me and I owe it because of my past misdeeds. So he thinks it's better for me to suffer than to protest. Whenever a devotee is in distress or has fallen into difficulty, he thinks that it's the Lord's mercy upon him. He thinks, thanks to my past misdeed, I should suffer far, far greater than I'm suffering now. So it's by the mercy of the Supreme Lord that I'm not getting all the punishment. I'm just getting a little by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he's always calm, quiet, and patient, despite many distressful conditions. So this is how karma can make you very distressed, you know. But if you turn to the Lord, and that's the essence, and you try to be karma-free, like you dovetail all your acts in love for God, then the Lord is so happy that He will take away slowly, He will take away that karma. And if you have to be punished because you did a lot of crazy things, then the Lord will be so merciful that you will get just a little bit of what you actually deserve. Okay? That's how the system works. So what happens with karma? If you think about karma, it is not the Lord. It's all our own deeds, our own choices. We have a free will. We got a free will from the Lord. The Lord is the controller, the ultimate controller, but still He gave us our free will. That means we can make choices. We can make our own choices, but we make the wrong choices. For instance, you can choose, okay, I have a free night today. I'm going to the cinema. I'm going to watch a crazy movie. Or I'm going to a disco. Or I'm going to have a beer on the terrace with my friends. Or I'm going to do barbecue. Or I want this job because I want big position. Or I want to be on Facebook every day because I want or Instagram. I want all the followers. I want the most followers. Are choices. If you choose that, okay, then you choose make the wrong choices. Then don't be afraid that you have a negative karma. You can also say, okay, I'm not going to the cinema. I stay at home, or I go to the cinema and I watch Mahabharat, something like that. Or okay, I'm not going to the terrace with friends. I'm at home. I have a house program and we eat nice prasadam. Or position. You can also say, I'm not aiming for position. Just let me do what I have to do, and I don't care about position. All these things. Or I don't want to be on Facebook to become popular. I just want to be on Facebook to show some nice things about Krishna or about the Lord. So these are choices. These are choices you can make. So all the choices we make that is what influence our results. That is how we produce karma. Yeah. I'm going to end because it's half an hour later. Okay, but as I said, all this karma we have, we build it up, and even if it's bad karma, even as I said, even if you were a murderer or whatever, if you turn to the Lord, He takes it away. He minimizes it. And our good luck is we live in this age of Kali. Kali means black, and it has a very negative very negative connection. However, it is the most glorious age, because in this age the Lord came in His most merciful form, and He bestows everybody with His mercy. It doesn't matter what you are and what you wear, once you turn a little bit to Him. And that's the mercy of the Lord in this age. mijn mobiel pakken.
Aan het zoeken. En dan gaan we gewoon door. Ja, Gita is wat aan het opzoeken.
Ja,
dus.
dat kan allemaal gelijktijdig.
Oh, dat gaat nu in orde?
Ja, dankjewel. Ik ga dus een stukje lezen uit Bhagavad Gita. Dat is een hele leuke... Oh, dat is Nederlands. Oké, so, hello, I'm back again. I was talking about, and you were listening to the topic karma. So I will continue. And, I have to put my mobile on now, 1 second, because I have a very nice story. I would like to read it later, and it is on my mobile. Yes, that's done. So, talking about karma, I just came through a verse in the Bhagavad Gita, and I will read it. It is chapter 2, the contents of the Gita summarized. And the verse, it's all Sanskrit, but let me just do the translation. The translation is, you have a right. So Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. This is the only book the Lord Krishna himself spoke to his disciple and friend, Arjuna. And it is said here, you have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. It means here, the essence is never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. So the result of your activities, as I said, the karma is done by you, but there are more forces. There are more forces here who produce this karma. As I said, also Krishna's mercy, the mercy of Krishna, and that I will illustrate by the story about King Bharat. But before, Let's memorize. So as I said, karma, the karma we produce has a lot of, it is not only one thing. Your next body, the body you get in next life, is based on your karma, okay? And this karma is built up by, as I said, your karma in the past. Karma is something which goes on. We carry it on our back. We have at this moment, we are carrying a lot of karma from previous lives on our back. And then there's still karma to come, because some of the karma are not fruited yet. So that is the karma for the future. So we are carrying this all. This is what builds up our new body. And then the other thing is, as I said, your own desires. And another thing is who you are attached to at the time of death. Suppose you're dying and you're lying there and you're just so attached to your family, so attached, and you are so sorry, you regret to leave them, because of this attachment to material things, to the family's material, then that will drag you back to the material world, okay? And the other one is Krishna's mercy. And now I would like to illustrate how the mercy of Krishna works. The founder Acharya of the ISKCON movement, Srila Prabhupada, was about to leave his body. But his disciples said, please stay a little bit longer. We need you in this mission. We can't continue without you. We are so unqualified. We need you. So, because they prayed by the Lord's mercy, he got some more time. The mercy of the Lord means, simply like The Lord can make one dead person with just doing this alive again, or he can do this and you die at once. The Lord can make the possible impossible and the impossible possible. That's the opulence of the Lord. Okay, now the story. And the story illustrates three things. I said, you will get the body of the thing, the person or thing you remember at the time of death. Or you will get the body according to your own desire. And the other thing is the Lord's mercy. This story is about Lord Bharat. So I already told it in Dutch last time. It is so amazing. So King Bharat is the son of King Rishabh. This all comes from Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma was the first human body on Earth planet, in universe. Lord Brahma had a task from Krishna to create all the planets, all the planetary systems, and all the living entities. That was the greatest seva he had. It's Lord Brahma. So now we have one of the grandsons is Lord Bharat, the son of King Rishabha. And he was a very, very elevated son. He was so religious. He was so spiritual. He was always reciting shastras, doing the mantras, always following the religious principles. He was doing often yagyas, performing yagyas, and he was following in the footsteps of great sages. So that's King Bharat, such an amazing, elevated soul. But now, in this story, you will see how even such elevated souls as King Bharat, how they can fall down. And he fell down because he got attached to, no, not a woman, but he got attached to a deer, a deer. And that was the cause of his fall down. So the story goes as follows, and I do it briefly. You can find it in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is Canto 5, and it is the chapters 7, 8, 9. Just check it out. One day, so King Bharat left his family. He had 5 sons. He left his family at a certain age. It was the culture that at a certain age they just leave home. We call it vanaprastha. They separate, and then the husband, he goes after the age of 50. He goes somewhere in the forest or wherever to meditate. So King Bharat left his family. He wanted to focus much more on spiritual life, so he left his family. One day he was sitting at the Gandaki river, and he was doing his meditation. He was chanting his mantras, and what he saw that at a certain moment there was a deer, a mother deer, pregnant deer with a baby in her belly, and she tried to drink a little bit water, and at a certain moment there was a terrible roar of a lion, and she got so shocked. So what happened is, wow, she jumped. She wanted to cross the river, and then the baby belly, and she died, and the baby belly fell in the water. So King Bharat was sitting there and said, what's going on here? Oh, this must be the Lord. There's a baby deer. He has no father, he has no mother, he has nobody. And here I am. Maybe Providence, the Lord want me to take care of him. He had so much compassion. So he took the baby, and see what happened. He got so attached to this deer, so attached. He was acting like father and mother of this baby deer. And everywhere where he went, he just brought this baby deer with him. It sounds crazy, but it's true. Sometimes he took the baby deer on his lap, and he started to kiss it, or talk to it, and putting it to bed, the baby to bed, etc., like it was a human being. Anyhow, it doesn't matter. The point I want to make is he was so attached to this baby deer that because of this attachment to material things, it's like the attachment of a father for his children or for other things. Of course, you can get attached, but mind you, if you get too much attached, you can come back in the material world, and that happens here. In his case, what happened is once the baby wasn't home, was absent, and he got so how desperate. He went to the forest. He said, "Oh, I have to find my baby. I have to find my baby." And then he somehow or other he fell and he died. He left his body, but at the moment of death, he just had the deer in his baby deer in his mind and nothing else. He forgot all the spiritual literatures. He just, when he had a deer, what happened is attachment to the material thing, the deer, and detachment from the Lord, from Krishna, because he wasn't performing any spiritual life anymore. So at the time of death, he was thinking about the deer, and see what happened in next life. He came back as a deer. He took birth in the womb of a deer mother, and he became a deer. So now, so you see what you're thinking about. Mind you, your next life you will become what you were thinking about, where you were attached to. But see how Krishna's mercy works, and this is the part of karma. Actually, he has to become a deer, and he became a deer. But it's not ... No, Krishna's mercy, the Lord's mercy, because this King Bharat was such an elevated soul and so attached to his spiritual life in the past. He got a mercy of the Lord, and that means that although he became a deer, he just kept his remembrance. Normally, if we leave our body, the remembrance is also gone. That's why we don't remember the things from previous lives. Changing body means your remembrance get lost. But he got a mercy of the Lord, of Krishna, that he just kept the remembrance. So while he was a deer, he thought, "Oh my God, what did I do? I had such a good spiritual life, but then I left my family, and I wanted to become more spiritual, advanced. And what happens? This baby deer, I was caught in love, and I was so attached to this deer. Oh, what did I do? And now I came back as a deer." So he felt so much sorry that as a deer, he left his mother even. He left his mother deer, and he went to, what is the name of the... Yeah, the Pulaha ashram. The deer went to a ashram, Pulaha ashram. And what happened then is, in next life, when he had a new birth, he came back as a Brahmana. And that's all Krishna's mercy, because if somebody is very elevated in spiritual life, or not even elevated, but somebody is doing his best to come closer to Krishna, the Lord, then he will always, in every circumstances, he will always guide you and lead you. And that's what the story tells us. Now I would like to read the last part, because he became a Brahmana. So from deer, he just regret what happened with him, and then his whole spiritual mind came back. It came back, and then he, it is said in the Shastras that when you are connected to the Lord, then in next life you can come back in a rich family. A rich family that means not a rich family because of the wealth, but a rich family, normally a spiritual rich family, they have altars in their house, they worship the Lord. So then you can come back in a pious family and become pious again, or you can come back in a Brahmana family, and that happens to him. Heb ik nog tijd om een stukje te lezen?
Ja, je bent er nog lang.
Oké. Nee.
We zijn op 20:07.
Ja, nee.
Dus je hebt nog even de tijd.
Ja, ik heb hier een stukje en die wil ik graag lezen. Ja. Even kijken. Ja, ja, ik heb hem hier. Ja, ik heb hem hier. Oké. I'm going to read this summary from the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 8, because it is so beautiful, and then I will conclude. I told the story in my way, but very briefly, but I've still time to read the chapter for you, and I will do it very slowly. So this Canto 5, the Creative Impetus, chapter 8. Although a description of the character of Bharat Maharaj. Although Bharat Maharaj was very elevated, he fell down due to his attachment to a young deer. One day after Bharat Maharaj had taken his bath as usual in the river Gandaki and was chanting his mantra, he saw a pregnant deer coming to the river to drink water. Suddenly, there could be heard the thundering roar of a lion, and the deer was so frightened that it immediately gave birth to its calf. It then crossed the river, but died immediately. Thereafter, Maharaj Bharat took compassion upon the motherless calf, rescued it from the water, took it to his ashram, and cared for it affectionately. He gradually became attached to this young deer and always thought of it affectionately. As it grew up, it became Maharaj Bharat's constant companion, and he always took care of it. Gradually, he became so absorbed in thinking of this deer that his mind became agitated. As he became more attached to the deer, his devotional service slackened. See, and that is very important. If you are trying to get attached to the Lord, Maya is the energy of the Lord, of Krishna, but that is the energy which drags you down. We have to watch out, we have to be careful with Maya, because what happened here is this king was so elevated, but at a certain moment, Maya saw that he became attached to a deer, and what she does is, wow, she comes and she grabs you. She grabbed him, and what happened is then he forgets the Lord. She drives you back, she drives you away from the Lord. It's always a fight between, are you coming closer to the Lord, to Krishna, or are you coming closer to Maya? The more attached you are to Krishna, the more detached from Maya. So Maya here is trying to get him, and she gets him. Because what happened is, as I said, he thinking of the deer, his devotional service slackened. That means, okay, it was gone with his spiritual life. Although he was able to give up his opulent kingdom, he became attached to the deer. Thus he fell down from his mystic yoga practice. He fell down from this whole spiritual yoga practice. That's quite something. Once when the deer was absent, Maharaj Bharat was so disturbed that he began to search for it. While searching and lamenting the deer's absence, Maharaj Bharat fell down and died. Because his mind was fully absorbed thinking of the deer, he naturally took his next birth from the womb of a deer. However, because he was considerably advanced spiritually, he didn't forget his past activities. Even though he was in the body of a deer, he could understand how he had fallen down from his exalted position. And remembering this, he left his mother deer and again went to Pulaha ashram. He finally ended his fruitive activities in the form of a deer, and when he died, he was released from the deer's body. That is the one. And then the last one. What happened with him? This is so nice. This Bharat came back now as Jada Bharat. He came back as Jada Bharat. And Jada Bharat, so he was a deer. He came back as a human body, a Brahmana. But now he was so careful and so humble that he tried to avoid everybody. He was acting like a crazy, dumb, stupid man because he was so afraid to get association of others. He was so afraid that he would be attached again to the wrong people that he avoided everybody. Okay, the supreme character of Jada Bharat, that is the Bharat who became from a deer, Jada Bharat. In this chapter, Bharat Maharaj's attainment of the body of a Brahmana is described. In this body, he remained like one dull, deaf, and dumb, so much that when he was brought before the goddess of Kali to be killed as a sacrifice, he never protested. He even remained silent. After having given up the body of a deer, he took birth in the womb of the youngest wife of a Brahmana. In this life, he could remember the activities of his past life. And in order to avoid the influence of society, he remained like a deaf and dumb person. He was so afraid, really afraid to get attached again to the wrong things, to the wrong people, because in next life he would become like them. He was very careful not to fall down again. He didn't mix with anyone who was not a devotee. And then when Bharat Maharaj was in the body of a Brahmana, the people in the neighborhood thought of him as a crazy, dull fellow. But he was always chanting and always remembering Vasudeva, the Lord. Although his father wanted to give him an education and purify him as a Brahmana by offering him a threat, he remained in such a way that his father and mother could understand that he was crazy and not interested. Nonetheless, he remained fully Krishna conscious, even without undergoing ceremonies. Okay, leave this part. And then he was ordered. Then, in the last part, he had step brothers, and the step brothers, this is very stupid. Now you see who the Lord acts. So this man, it came back as a Brahmana, but being afraid of getting attached to the wrong persons, he was avoiding everybody. And the step brothers of him, they considered him crazy, really crazy. And like they didn't give him food, and they were not feeding him. They were feeding him with the things which were rotten. That's what we were doing. But at the end here, there were decades, and they needed somebody to sacrifice to the fire. And Mother Kali asked the decades, bring somebody for me. I want to sacrifice. I have to sacrifice a person to the fire. And they brought this poor Jagat Bharat. They brought Bharat Maharaj because they thought he's a crazy man. And actually, he was so God conscious. He was constantly in his heart. He was chanting the Lord's name constantly. Only externally, he was acting like a dumb, stupid, crazy man so that nobody could reach him. But now what happened is, when the decades brought Bharat Maharaj before the goddess of Kali, and they raised a chopper to kill him, the goddess of Kali became immediately alarmed, and she came out of the deity. She was live, killed all the decades there. And then it concludes, thus a pure devotee of the Lord can remain silent, even if people mistreat him. It doesn't matter. If you're a pure devotee, you can keep silent. Rogues and decades who misbehave towards somebody who connect with the Lord are punished at last by the arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is the nice story. This is how you see how the Lord works, even if you connect a little bit, it doesn't mean that you have to become a Krishna Bhakt like me. And that's not what I'm trying to do, to convince you all to become Krishna Bhakts of God Bhakts. But as I said, if we do the things we do, you study, you have your job, you are a producer, you're a radio producer, but you add the Lord also. May He also enter in your actions. Then all these actions, they don't produce karma anymore. Then those actions are karma free. Why? Because you do the actions, but you do it in your mind to please the Lord. You can study, and it is difficult to study, but then you say, Lord, I'm now studying, please. Lord, I'm studying. Please give me the buddhi, give me the brains to remember what I'm doing, and let me do it in a good way. Now I'm speaking. Before I spoke, I asked the Lord, please, Lord, I'm going to speak, but give me the qualities to say something nice. So then my speech becomes spiritual. Then what you do becomes spiritual. And that's karma free. Then you don't build any karma anymore. And finally, at the time of that, you go back to the spiritual world. No burden that anymore.
Je hebt het erop zitten.
Ja, dankjewel.
Ja, het is heel interessant geweest.
Heb je het een beetje kunnen volgen?
Ja, ik heb het een klein beetje kunnen volgen.
Heb jij het kunnen volgen, Sunil? Ja.
Oh ja, wat dat betreft is hij echt heel goed. Maar hij heeft het ook op zijn manier ook nog druk ook hoor. Ja. Maar het is goed gegaan vanavond. Moet er nog muziek gemaakt worden even zien op het laatste stukje? Had je nog speciale muziek voor vanavond?
Nee, ik had het dus al gezien.
In de regio, het station dat je verrast. Voor jou.
Radio SKS is een dienstverlenend radiostation voor de samenleving in Nederland en ver daarbuiten. Radio SKS richt zich voornamelijk op etnische minderheden. Radio SKS zal zich vooral richten op het verspreiden van informatie over gemeentelijke instellingen. Daarnaast zendt Radio SKS het Nederlandse nieuws uit in een aantal buitenlandse talen. Uiteraard ontbreken de amusementsprogramma's ook niet. Al deze programma's worden bedacht en gemaakt door vrijwilligers uit verschillende allochtone groepen. Wij zijn vrijwilligers en wij werken uitsluitend met vrijwilligers. Daarom zijn wij op zoek naar enthousiaste mensen die graag een bijdrage willen leveren aan het succes van Radio SKS. Ervaring met radiomaken is nuttig, maar niet echt een noodzaak. Kortom, wij zoeken vrijwilligers. Informatie 036 545 1763 of 06 467 47293. Radio SKS. Don't miss it. It's all your choice. It's Radio SKS.
The future, the next generation. We are the hottest, the latest sensations.